Intro to Web Dev. So, oh, sorry. Okay, thank you guys for coming. I'm Crystal Yang. I'm an organizer for this hackathon, and overall, we're just be going over an introduction to web dev workshop. So we'll be going over how to make a website if you guys choose to make a website for the hackathon this weekend. So overall, I guess, hi, I'm Crystal, and we will be making our own website here as well. So if you guys want to possibly use this to make a website for your hackathon this weekend, you can use that workshop for this resource. Or if you're just interested in learning how to make a website, this workshop would be good for you as well. So overall, the main components of building a website includes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So these three different programming languages all have their own functions. Overall, so first, HTML does a ton of different functions. It's kind of like the backbone of a website. So it has all types of different elements. It has all your text, like buttons, images, whatever you want. And overall, some things that it does, it structures your content. So you can organize things through HTML. You can create links through HTML. You can embed media, things like that. You can create forms and just different types of very basic elements of a website. Next, there's CSS. I don't know if you've heard of that one. This one is just to make your website look pretty. So if you have a basic HTML website, it'll probably look kind of bad, no offense. But overall, CSS can help everything. You can give things color, change the size, change the font, all sorts of different things with CSS. And lastly, JavaScript is kind of like the sorry. Okay, JavaScript is also is kind of like the brain of the website, I guess. So if you want your buttons to work, or if you want to be able to integrate APIs like ChatGPT API or something like that, or if you want to just make different forms work or something like that, JavaScript would be the tool that you're looking for to do that. So overall, I guess here's the syntax of HTML. So, okay, yeah. So for HTML, a basic line of code would look like this. So it starts with this thing called a tag, and that's the two little brackets, and they include a little thing inside that tells them what you want to do. So in this case, we have P inside those two little brackets, and that actually stands for paragraph. So if you want to put text onto your HTML website, you would just use that tag. So the first one is called the opening tag. It just doesn't have a slash, and it just states what you want it to have. Inside, you'll have something called your content. So for example, in this case, this tag would display text that says hello world. And lastly, you'll have a closing tag, which pretty much, these both don't do much except for tell the program what it wants. And the closing tag also has a bracket. So again, we'll be making our own website in this workshop. So I guess you guys can just open up an editor if you're interested in following along. There's a bunch of different options like W3 Schools, Replit, VS Code. I probably recommend using W3 Schools. If you guys need help setting it up, you can search up HTML, CSS, online editor. I think I did it here. Yeah. And then you can go to the first one that pops up. It's W3 Schools. It's a pretty good site. You can log in. I think I just logged in with a random Google account if you guys want to make a site as well. And then you can click try front end editor. If you got, yeah. So there's stuff that's already in here. You can just delete it. We'll go over everything there. So I'll give you maybe 2 minutes to set that up if you're interested in following. Okay, I think we should be good. If you guys need more time, you can pop a message in the chat and I'll wait a little bit longer. But yeah, I think if you guys want, you can just follow along. So I guess we will start coding. So the basic thing that you'll need to put in your, I guess, in your document is these HTML tags. So this is kind of just telling your code that like, hey, we're coding in HTML, I guess. So again, you have these two brackets, you write HTML, and then you do the second layer thing here, and then you put a slash. So everything that you write is going to be in between these two HTML tags. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do that if you guys are following along. So again, these are like, I guess this is like the root element that has all of your code, or at least all of your HTML code. Cool. So next we have our body tags. So again, this is like a crucial thing for HTML code. It's just one of the elements that you need to put within your website in order to put your code in there as well. So here's what they look like, and you would just put them inside your HTML code. So the reason we have these is just to separate this from another element, which we'll go over later, called the head. And the head kind of stores all the information, and then your body will store all your code. Okay, so after that, another element that we have is the div function. So at first, like when you're first programming, this doesn't really do much because it doesn't really change how the website looks directly. But the div function is a great way to organize all your code, and it's also a great way to give like CSS elements later down the line. So we can just throw in a div element. Again, you write all your code within the body and within the HTML function. So for now, we can just write div, and we can see what it does later. Okay, cool. Next, we have our heading. So I guess if you guys are following along, this is the first time that something will actually pop up onto the left of our screen. So our heading will look like this. This like number can go all the way up to 6, depending on how big you want your heading to be. So an H1 heading is like really big, I believe, and then an H6 heading is a little bit of a smaller heading. So you have a big range of options to choose from, and it'll kind of just give your web page like a structure that just looks organized, and overall that would be what your heading function is. So you can just throw that in, and then you can actually write things as well. So I don't know, we can make our website about ducks, duck appreciation. How do you spell appreciation? There we go. You guys can make a website about whatever you want if you're following along, but yeah. And if you want to make your hackathon project or start it here as well, feel free to do that. So I guess we can run the code, and now we have a beautiful heading that has popped up onto our website. And oh, again, I guess there's also other types of headings that we can use. There's H2 headings, which are a little bit smaller. You guys run this as well, it's just a tiny bit smaller. And then on our smallest end, we have H6 headings, which we can have duck facts. We can fill that out later. Okay, and if you run that, like it's pretty tiny. Cool. So next we have attributes. So these go into your div function, and right now they probably don't seem that useful. It's just kind of, again, to sort your stuff. So I don't know, we can just put it here. Put it in our div id equals to, actually, I don't know, we can put facts. Oh, actually, here, we'll leave the div here. Sorry. We can give duck facts its own div. There you go. Usually you try to name a heading or like a tag something that's memorable and easy to use, kind of like how you name variables in programming. Okay, so next, this is a paragraph. So this is kind of like a heading, but in the sense that it also displays text. But a heading is just more, I mean, a paragraph is usually used to display more text. So we can write some duck facts with this. Ducks have 2 feet. Ducks. Oh wait, sorry. Okay, so overall, if you write these tiny paragraphs, you can see that they are right here. So they pop up here, and then these can also be super long as well. Since paragraphs are usually used for long blocks of text, so you can like write it a bunch of times. This is really stuffed, I'm sorry. But see, like it makes sense to have like to use paragraph if you guys want to use it for longer blocks of text. Cool. The next element that we have are these styling elements. So this is for text specifically. If you want to make some text stand out, or if you want to make text, I guess, bold or italicized, then you can use these tags. They're commonly used just to make your website look more clean, I guess. So these are a little bit different in the way you add them in. You still need an opening and closing tag, but you actually just like shove it in a random text place. So if I want to highlight ducks, I can just put so EM for italicized, or well, it stands for emphasize, but if you run this, you can see that this duck is actually now italicized, which is super cool. And then I love the number 2. Wow, so we can bold 2. Again, the syntax is strong. And then if you run this, 2 should be extra bold. Yay, there you go. So yeah, there's some basic text elements. Next, we have the line break function. So if you see like my previous this block of text, that is not a good block of text because everything's like on one line, and instead of just making new paragraphs every single time, you can actually just use a function called break. So all you do is this. So that's the syntax. Overall, for example, here, like it's just a giant paragraph with a bunch of lines, and then you would break it up with break, and then it will introduce this new line. So every time there's a break function, it'll go to the next line. If you guys code in like Java or any other programming languages, it's kind of like a print line function over there. So, I mean, I guess we can copy this a bunch of times so it's actually on different lines. Wow, now we can learn so much about ducks. That's so cool. Okay. Our next function that's pretty cool is a list. So these are very useful if you want to make facts, or not necessarily facts, but make your website and display your information to be a little bit more organized. So for example, this will display a list, I believe with bullet points of like limes, tortillas, and chicken. So overall, I guess we can use this on our code as well. So this is called an unordered list because it doesn't have numbers in front of it. So like an ordered list would have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an unordered list would just have bullet points. So for each list item, this exact syntax is to write the letters li next to it. So you would just write li per element. So here we want like I guess we can do like ducks eat okay, and then for each list element we'd put like what they eat. So I hope they eat grass. They can eat other things as well, like seeds maybe, and insects. Wow, I'm a duck pro, guys. So as you can see, our unordered list has little bullet points right here. And then if we wanted to make it an ordered list, we'd just change the U to an O. So it would be OL instead of UL. And sorry, I forgot to close this. Okay. Now there's numbers instead of our bullet points. So overall, if you want to make a cool list in HTML in addition to your text, this would be how you do it. Okay, next. Our next element that you guys can use in your own website would be an image. So as you can see, our current website is a little plain. It's just, I guess, text. So if you want to add an image, you can do this pretty easily. You can actually just take a image that already exists on Google, and as long as it's on the internet, like you can just copy the link and put it on your own website as well. So I guess we can put a cool duck picture on here. Okay, let's see. I don't know. This duck is funny. Wait, this duck is funny. Okay, so all you have to do once you have an image that you want to choose, is that you right click it and you do copy image address. So if you like search this up in another tab just to show you what it's doing, like it'll just take the entire image. So again, as long as it's on the internet, like you found it from Google, you should be able to just put it in your code. Actually, I'm not sure about how copyright stuff works, but it's okay. Don't worry about that. Okay, so the syntax for this, there's actually no closing tag. It's just kind of all in one big tag. So yeah, here's the syntax for that. SRC stands for source, and it's basically where the image came from. And then again, the link that I pasted up here, or like the link that I chose from Google, it will go into here. So do not forget the quotation marks, because that'll signify that it's like actually an element. So where should we put our image? We can put it at the top. Okay. Image and then SRC equals to whatever image you chose. I hope this is good. And then put a slash at the end. Yes. Wow, this is so beautiful, guys. We have a giant duck. Oh my gosh, it's so big. We have a giant duck on our website. This is so cool. Later we can use CSS, because again, CSS is like the design part to make the image a better size and also make all this look better. So again, overall, like HTML just has like your basic building block elements. So that'll include like text, buttons, forms, images like that. So that's why our website looks a little plain right now. Cool. So you can add as many images as you want, but for the sake of time, I will move on to our next element. So something else that's really common that people use are buttons. So you can do all sorts of things with buttons. In order for them to work, you'd probably need to do some sort of JavaScript function. If you guys are interested, Google has a ton of resources for web development. So you guys could definitely just search something up and find like simple button functions to do whatever you want to do with buttons. So overall, button syntax is just like this. It's pretty simple. The type equals to button is actually not necessary. That's just for the ID, like the attribute that we talked about earlier. But overall, this is just button syntax. Inside, you just write what you want to display on the button. So it's not necessarily an empty button. You can write text inside your button as well. So when clicked, again, if you program like a cool JavaScript function, you can attach it on your button and something can actually run. So if you guys are confused on like, for example, what a button can do, some cool examples I can think of. My friend made a cool website that had like it was just a pretty simple timer website. And once you click the button, like it would start the timer, and then you would do that by like linking the button up to JavaScript. The buttons can also help you navigate to different pages. You actually don't need JavaScript for this, I believe. You can just do a tag. And then also it'll help you do a ton of other actions. So if you guys think about websites, like buttons are pretty common. So I will show you guys how to do a button. So for a button, I don't know where we should put it. Put it at the bottom. For a button, you would just put it here. Put the opening tag. And then let's see, click for more cool duck facts. Okay, so here now we have a really ugly button that has shown up at the bottom of our screen. So you can edit this button with CSS. because CSS kind of just makes everything look pretty, I guess. But for now, we can leave our button as this boring little gray blob. Okay, and I guess I've been talking about CSS, so I guess it's time for our CSS time. Ooh, okay. So again, CSS kind of just makes our website look better. Yeah. So overall, the syntax for CSS, you can integrate a CSS document with two options. So one, you can create a separate document and put it inside the head with like a link, I guess. If you guys want, I'm sure there's a video somewhere on the internet on how to do that. And another option is just to put it directly in your HTML code. So for example, you can just like put it within the head. So again, earlier when I mentioned like having a body and a head, the reason why you have a head is because of CSS. So you would put your CSS elements within the head, and then you'd also put CSS within a tag called style. I'll show you guys how to do that later. Some syntax things about CSS, since it is a different language. So unlike HTML, where you can just literally put the tags between every line, CSS actually needs semicolons behind every line. And then it's kind of like, I feel like the syntax is very list-like. It's pretty simple to get. And then you also have to have a curly bracket to enclose all your information. And I'll show you guys how to do that right here. So our 4 CSS steps, let's go over them again right here. So we'll need to add the head, because again, we have our body and we'll need to add a head to make our site look pretty. Next, we have to add a style element. So this is literally just the word style. It just signifies that, hey, here's a CSS function. And then you would type all your CSS code within here. So there's a ton of things you can do. So basically, you just make your site look good. Let's start with the background color or something. I'm not very artistic or good at user interface, but I'll just show you guys like basic syntax. So if you wanted to change the whole background, CSS usually has some basic things. So first, if for something that applies to the entire document, you would use something called body, because again, everything here is within body. If that makes sense. Like everything is within the body element. So if you want to change something that applies to the entire document, do it in body. So again, we have our curly brackets that we wrote here, put them in, and then all you need to do is just like write some information. So the exact syntax is online of like what you can change, but overall, I'll just go over some basic things. So I guess our background is kind of basic. It's like plain and white. We can give it a cool color. So the exact syntax is background dash color, I believe. And then you'll put like what color you want. So like you can choose something as boring, like the actual real word. This is probably gonna be so ugly, like the color. Yeah. So it's like a plain yellow. You can try different things, different words. I think they have like a ton of words. And I believe you can also put the hex code. So if you don't know what that is, a hex code for a color is like kind of what a color or what number is signified by a color. So if you want to have like, I guess we can find a prettier yellow. Like we can use this color or something like that. So you would just take the hex code. I believe you just put the hashtag, then you run it. And then now our website is a different color. So the word option for colors is very limited. So I'd probably just recommend trying to find hex codes. If you're interested in winning like best design for a hackathon, you can probably just like create a cool color palette on different websites just to make your website look a lot prettier. So overall, this is how this works. If you want to change an exact element or a specific element, like say I want to change all the paragraphs and only paragraphs, like not the headings or anything, then you would choose the specific thing you want to change. So P again stands for paragraphs. And then you just like set that a color too. So for this, you don't need to write background color since you're specifying that you only want to change P automatically. All you have to do is color. And then I guess just change to whatever color you want. Let's do maybe purple. It'll look so ugly, but that's exciting. Okay. As you can see, the headings have not changed, but I believe, yes, all of the paragraph items specifically have changed. So yay, now these things are purple. You can do this with all different types of things. If you want to change the text of the headings, you can just put the same thing, but with like H1 or something like that. And also, I guess the next thing we can do with CSS, if you're following along, is to make this image smaller. I don't know on your ends, like what image you chose, but my image is ginormous. So the way you do this, if you guys can like guess, you would just put IMG, because again, our tag here was IMG. And then you would put in like the actual, I guess, dimensions you want. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but a simple way is just to literally put in the exact dimensions. So you would put like height, and again, it's a computer, so it registers everything in like pixels. You can do like 300 pixels. And then width, maybe like 500. Oh, this is going to be a really chunky duck. No. Okay. I kind of want to leave it, but we should probably fix it. So there's a lot of ways to do this. You can also just scale the image down if you don't want to like guess and check. But overall, you can just, I think this will probably look good. Yeah, there you go. So now our duck is a lot smaller and less chunky, unfortunately. But so that's, I guess, how you can scale down images. Again, more like syntax is probably available online for more specific things that you want to do. Another cool thing we can touch on is what this ID means. So I said earlier that we would go over why like IDs are important. So a big reason why they are important is because in CSS, you can specifically choose to make everything within the ID to be a certain like color or just anything you would like. So for example, if I want to make whatever's in this div of facts, so up here, if I want to make it all like a certain font or a certain color, I guess we can do color in this case since we've been doing it before. We can do like I think it's hashtag facts. Yes. So if you want to do a specific div ID, you always have to use the hashtag tag. Since here it's just an element, you don't have to use anything. But for here, it is a specific thing. So you would do a hashtag, and then you can just do like color, and then I guess do whatever color you would like. We can do blue or something. So something interesting is going to happen. Even though, I'll just run it, you guys can see. So even though everything in here was in the div column, like these things are purple. And I don't know if you guys know why. Well, but it's actually because the P that we declared before was purple. So that means that the kind of general element thing overrides the div element. But overall, our stuff is still like mostly blue. That was within the div element. So yeah, there's a lot of different types of things you can do with this. Also, another cool thing you guys can do if you guys are like interested in coding more websites is to use Google. So I guess I can use an example with the button. So a lot of times people have already pre-created really, really great CSS templates or really pretty like website templates, and you can just use those. I guess we can just use the example again on the button, CSS button. So what we can do, like we can just literally take buttons or take elements off of Google. So currently our button is like this because it's a default button. And if we want to make it green, instead of like tinkering around ourselves, you can just like copy pre-existing code over and just run it as well. So now our button, oh wait, never mind. Yeah, so now our button is like really green and pretty now. overall, some great resources I'd recommend if you guys want to use Google. W3 Schools is really good. There's a lot of very simple, very simple things. Like this button isn't that fancy. Like overall, these aren't that fancy. But if you just search up pretty much what you want to see, I'd recommend searching like what you want and then the language you'd want it in. And then you can just basically get cool things off of Google. If you guys are curious on like how cool things can get, there's like really, really, really pretty buttons. I'm not sure how I can show you one. Maybe here. Or like not just buttons, but in general, like the possibilities are really limitless. Like look at these. These are so cool. They're like animated and stuff. And you could pretty much just get the code from the website right here if you copy it over. So overall, there's just a lot of different things you can do with developing a website. And these are not the only HTML elements. I just think that they're mainly the ones that I use the most and the ones that are probably the most useful for your hackathon this weekend. And overall, I guess we made a beautiful website. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Thank you guys so much for coming. Have a good luck on your project, I guess. And if you need any help, feel free to use the hashtag AskAdmin channel in Discord, and you can like email us or anything like that. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well right now. I'll stay on for like 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you for saying my website was beautiful. I agree. Thanks for coming. Someone asked what does JavaScript do? So again, JavaScript is like the backend. So for example, if you want to make a really cool button, for example, like the button that I showed earlier that has like animations and stuff, that would probably need JavaScript. So overall, JavaScript just kind of like codes like different functions and things like that. Someone said if they want to make a website for the hackathon, how would they like submit it on DevPost? So overall, if you were interested in creating a website for our hackathon, our website, or like our DevPost submission is currently video based and it will be video based. So all you have to do is send a video of a demo. Yes, I will upload the slides of Discord. So you would just have like a demo of your website, I guess, just record it and then send it over to us and we judge based on what we see over there. Someone asked, would you advise doing HTML for the hackathon? Sure. I mean, you guys can use whatever language you would like. I think HTML is a great language, especially for beginners. You're able to make like a really, really nice, I guess, website, just like pretty simple. Like it's only been 30 minutes and we already have a beautiful website over here. So I'd say HTML is a great resource to, I guess, yeah, just make a website. Yeah, I'll upload the slides on Discord so you guys can reference them. Oh, someone asked, how would you change the font? There's a lot of different ways to do that. You can do it pretty simply, like directly in HTML here. Also, a big resource that a lot of people use for fonts is called Google Fonts. So I can show you what that looks like if you're interested. So all you would do is just, you have access to all these different fonts and you can just paste the link of like the CSS link into Google Fonts as well. So you would just look at the link, or you'd put the link within your document, and then you'd be able to use all those fonts in your website. Overall, I don't think, yeah, I think just modern fonts like the ones that are more rounded probably look better than the default HTML font. Oh, someone said, what if you have like multiple images? Okay, so I guess if you have multiple images, you could probably um give each image its own ID, and then instead of changing all the heights or all the images heights to be a certain height, you could probably just like do it individually through ID. Okay, I think that's all the questions. I'll wrap it up now. Thank you guys so much for coming and good luck on all of your projects. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Ask Admin channel on Discord. Okay. Bye guys. Thanks.